Characters in ensemble casts that don't really interact with each other one-on-one. The one episode of Arrested Development where George Michael says he doesn't know who Lucille 2 is. I always love when you get a later season episode where clearly someone in the writer's room has gone, we never really do anything with these two characters together, and it's like they unlock a whole new dimension of the show. Jesse and Walt Jr. never meet in Breaking Bad. Walt Jr. met Gus and Saul, but never Jesse. I know not TV, but a very famous example is Frodo and Legolas. Rewatching Lost recently, and Locke and Jean barely interacted with each other. They have a brief scene in S2, but then it's S5 where they speak directly to each other again. Himmem's The Mermaid Theory episode does this with Robin and Marshall. The Wire is a good example of this. Many of the characters never interact due to class and bureaucracy, among other things. There's an episode of Seinfeld where George and Elaine end up alone at the diner together, and it's awkward cause it turns out they never really hang out 1:1. Late in the show, great turn. Kira and Worf never have a single episode in the 4 seasons they are on the show together where they are the main characters and share a storyline on Star Trek, DS9. They barely even interact with each other in general. I've always thought this was a mistake, as the two of them have a lot of similarities that would have been fascinating to examine. In Game of Thrones, many actors actually spent years never meeting each other BC the storylines were shot in different countries. In the early seasons, Chandler and Rachel were very close, very similar parent issues. After that, they were shown interacting rarely, but they did have lunch together every day. They were the only two with desk jobs. In GOT, Arya and Tyrion don't have a single conversation in the whole show, despite the first thing Arya talks about is seeing the imp. Pee-wee's Playhouse. Jambi and Cherry never spoke, even though they were always in the same room together. I was thinking recently that in Peep Show, Super Hans and Johnson never interact at all. In Modern Family, you have quite a few. Manny and Mitchell. Luke barely interacts with anyone outside his immediate family. Jay pretty much spends zero time with his grandkids Luke and Haley. In the early seasons of Scrubs, the janitor only ever interacts with JD. The creator planned to reveal him as a figment of JD's imagination if they got cancelled at the end of the first season, and then kept it going for a while. They eventually gave him scenes with other characters too. I seem to remember Big Bang Theory doing an episode to lampshade this. They were doing like a scavenger hunt and had Howard and Amy form a team, and Leonard and Bernadette form a team, with each time directly addressing how they've never really talked to each other outside the group and find common ground. Stranger Things had this particularly with Will. Makes sense given he's the quiet one of the group. Even in his friend group, he tended to only really interact with Mike and Elle, and he and Max in particular didn't interact one-on-one until the penultimate episode of the series. It was rather jarring to see them hug and get emotional not once but twice in that episode, and think, when did you two ever bond like this? It was pointed out once that Goku and Kai Otsun never directly speak to each other throughout the entire Dragon Ball series. Movie Not TV. In The Fifth Element, the characters played by Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman never interact directly. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend gestured at this with a Trapped in a Car episode. Each character is paired up with someone they have never or barely even been in the same scene before. Not a television show, but I always enjoyed the fact that Kirk and Connor never physically in the same scene together throughout the entirety of Wrath of Khan. They have plenty of dialogue together, but always over comms or screens. Big Bang. It took Raj many seasons before interacting with Penny while sober. I just saw a random clip that had them having lunch at work. Leonard is taking to a new girl and asked what field she was in. Oh, that's the same as Raj. Y'all must have tons to talk about. Raj just gives him a sad go-to-hell look, picked up his tray, and moves tables. I'm pretty sure Dr. Melfi never interacted with anyone from the core cast of The Sopranos except for Tony and Carmela, despite Lorraine Bracco having second billing. On Deep Space Nine, Odo and Bashir don't have a lot of time together. A couple of scenes, especially the baby changeling episode, etc. I didn't notice it really, but Siddiq El Fadil has mentioned in interviews that he didn't know René Auberjonois well, despite having worked with him for 7 years, because they rarely filmed together.